Yo, what up? Please make sure to like and subscribe. This video is going to be for levels ranges of 20 to 30. We're in Castle Mistmoore here, starting off extremely strong. And over towards the zone in, mobs over here are about level 21 to 23 or so when you first come in. Let me just run over here real quick. And you'll see here, this guy's level 22, Pledge Familiar is level 20, and level 21. And probably you want to start coming here maybe around that level range, so maybe like level 22 or so would be good. Just so the mobs aren't all red to you in the zone. And then as you start coming over here in the tunnel, they range from maybe about up to level 25 or so. And then after that, it gets a little bit higher here in the cemetery. These guys are about mid-20s. Some of them are up to level 30. There's some 27s. There's a 29, 25. So this is like the mid to high 20s here. And then you can go further and further back in the zone. They'll keep getting higher. Once you start getting back towards the castle here, these guys are low 30s. So there's a 31, 31, 29. And you can keep coming up and keep going to the castle. There is a level 40 roamer skeleton that pass up here, so you got to be careful for him. But yeah, but by the time you get into the castle, most of this stuff is like low 30s, and you can stay into this zone till probably like 35 or so. And here's the level 40 guy I was talking about right here. He roams around. Looks like does he just not see invisible? Yeah, so he's KOS. You'll see once I dropped my Invis versus Undead, he aggroed me. So let's look out for him. But yeah, you can stay until like 35. The mobs will start turning light blue to you though at that level. But you'll still have some blues. But the mob density back here is so high. And even some of these, that guy's level 35. So the mob density is so high, it kind of makes up for it. So yeah, this is one of the best leveling zones in the game. Even after all the expansions are released, this is a really good zone. Highly recommend coming here. So let's talk about the next zone. Before we move on to the next one, I did want to mention, make sure you check out the guide on the website. You can go up here to leveling/setup and go down to zone leveling guide. There is a map for every single zone in the game, and I kind of gave my personal opinion on how good I think it is for leveling. Subjective here, but if you click on a map, for example, we'll just click on Everfrost. And you can see, like, I have it circled what level areas have what level mobs in them. So just make sure to check this out and follow along as I talk about more zones. So you guessed it, we are back at Unrest again. This was in my 10 to 20 video, and it's also going to be in my 20 to 30 video because you can stay at this zone for a long period of time. Now, when you hit around level 20 or so, you're going to want to start going into the castle. You'll see here, these guys here are only like level 14 at the entrance, but some of them are like 17. But the two places you can go between 20 and 30 is upstairs and also downstairs. So if we go, let's see, where's upstairs at? That guy's level 18 right there, and we'll go up the stairs right here. Now up here on the second floor, you'll see they get a little bit higher. We got some 22s, we got some 25s, we got some 20s, and they're just kind of, mobs are kind of hidden all over the place up here, so you have to do some running around. But that guy's 21, and once you are done with the top floor, actually, some of the mobs do go up to like 30-ish, but you'll probably end up finished with the top floor maybe around like 24, 25 or so. After that, though, you can go into the basement, and let's head over there. And it's this door, I believe, right here. Nope, not this one. This door? Here it is, yep. And then you can open up this bookcase, and this will take you down to the basement. And you can actually stay down here to maybe like 31 or so if you're really pushing it. But you'll see this guy's 29, that guy's 27, and the basement's fairly big. If you're like in Classic, it'll be pretty good experience camp for an entire group. But after that, it's not a whole lot of mobs down here once you can really clear the zone out fast. So for power leveling, you know, it's semi-decent. Just because the mobs don't run away, and but the limiting factor might be mobs if you're power leveling here. But you'll see a lot of these guys are like mid-20s, and there's a secret wall right here. You can keep going down even further. This guy's 25, that guy's 28, and it starts to get a little bit higher down here, so you see some of these like level 30s. And you can go back even further. I think you can just run over this red spot, right? Yeah. So be careful here. There's like 2 traps along the side. If I remember correctly, those are traps. Yeah, so if you walk around like right here or right here, you're actually going to fall down into a pit. There is a ladder back up though, but just a heads up on that. And you can pull all the way down here. Some of these guys are all the way up to level 30. So yeah, Unrest is good from 20 up to maybe 30 or so. Probably you can leave. Most people might leave in their high 20s. But you can push it here a little bit further if you have problems finding groups elsewhere. But again, it's another really good zone. The good thing about the level 20 to 30 range, there's actually a lot of really good hotspots to go to. And the next one up is Upper Guk. Now I'm not going to run around this whole zone because it all kind of looks the same. It's actually a lot easier to look at a map. And I should have included this in my level 10 to 20 guide as well, because this zone is actually pretty decent starting at like level 15 or so. But let's get the map pulled up so you can see what I'm talking about. And you'll see down here towards the zone in, these are just like level 3 to 7 right when you zone in. So it's basically, you're not going to come here level 3 to 7. But once you move in just a little bit, a lot of these mobs are between like 15 and 20. So starting like 15 here, these are two really good areas here. And then it kind of scales up real slowly in the middle here. There is a camp here that's level 15 to 25. And most of this area here is also up to level 20. But once you start getting up to the back is where you're going to see the stuff that's like 20 to 30. This camp back here is really good. There's tons of frogs in this area and also up here in the northeast. So probably you can start coming to Upper Guk maybe at around level 15. And you can stay to maybe like 27 or 28 pretty comfortably. Yeah, so really good zone. And you'll probably find groups here too, especially in early Everquest. Now, the other thing to really keep in mind is this will ruin your live Guk faction. So if you're looking to do the Wood Elf quest, Illusion quest later, you're going to have to regrind that faction back. But if you go to lower Guk and kill undead there, you're going to probably counteract at least some of the faction that you lost grinding in Upper Guk. Also, I wanted to thank everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. It's growing at a faster rate than I could have imagined. So thank you, everybody. The more you subscribe, the more I'm motivated to make videos. So next up, we have the Twilight Sea. And if you look at the map here, the actual best part of this zone is this main island right here that you would port in on if you were a druid or a wizard. A lot of these elementals are like level like 23 to 29-ish. So it's like right in the prime levels, right in the prime level 20 range. So this is a really good spot right here, and a lot of people don't know about it or they don't consider it. Now Luckland has to be out, so if Luckland's not out, you can't come here, but it's actually a pretty good spot, and it's good for power level as well because you can pull a lot of these guys at the same time. And then once you finish this main island here, killing all these elementals, you actually come right down here, and this is a little bit out of this guide's range, but a lot of these guys here, they're kind of like right around level 30 and low 30, so you can actually just come on over here and kill these guys afterwards. And these guys actually drop mats for some of the blacksmithing stuff in Luckland as well, so it's a really good spot to farm just to get stuff to sell in the bazaar if you're leveling up blacksmithing. For you guys in your upper 20s, Dawnshroud Peaks is really good. The southwest area here is going to generally be the lowest level of the area of the zone. These guys are like 26 to 29 or so. And the other areas of the zone kind of start peaking up until like the low 30s. So this is kind of like a crossover around level 30. This would be a general good zone to go to maybe if you were like level 29 or something like that. And you can maybe bring like a small group here. I don't know if I would necessarily power level here. Technically you can, but I don't think it's like super optimal for it or anything. But yeah, so let's take a look at the map here so you can get a better idea of what level mobs are where. And you'll see, here's where we're at down here, and these guys are about 23 to 29. And then it kind of gets up a little bit higher, low 30s over here. But then over here again, you kind of got the lower, or the higher end of level 20 again. And you got some like mid 20s here at this castle. Like, we can check this castle out real quick, just to, you know, get a little visual. Let's see, where's the castle at? Okay, so yeah, it's right here. So you can come in here. These guys should be like high 20s or so in here. Here's some mushrooms. Yeah, so it's like 25, 26, 27. And you can kind of get an idea. This is actually a pretty good camp here, honestly. And then once you get closer to like the northern side of the zone, it's going to get a little bit higher. You might see stuff all the way up to like the mid 30s. Up right around here. And this cave back here is going to be out of your level range. Dawnshroud's a pretty, you know, it's a decent place. Not the best place, certainly not the worst place, but if you're looking for a group, you might find one here. So we're kind of over here next door to Dawnshroud. We're in Marus Seru, and this zone is really good for like mid 20s. So if you're like 22 to 27 or 28, this is a really good zone. And the whole zone is basically kind of like the same level range. The type of mobs is kind of going to want to be what you're looking for to determine what level the mob is. So, for example, like these rock hoppers, they tend to be like on the lower 20 end, so somewhere between 21 and 24. That one there is even level 20. And then the stone grabbers are going to be a little bit higher. They're going to be in your upper 20s. Like that guy was 28. That guy was also 28. And that guy's 25. So those are going to be the main two types of mobs. You're also probably going to see, I think there's some beetles around here somewhere. And those tend to be in the higher 20s as well. So like I said, you can come here at level 25. I'd recommend like having a group when you come here though. There's going to be a lot of roamers. But you can power level here pretty decently. Or otherwise I'd recommend having a couple people in your group. And there's some of these bandit camps too, and they can kind of range pretty big. Like this guy's level 20, and the guy standing right next to him is level 29. But it looks like generally, on average, they're probably like in the upper 20s. Let's see what's that guy. Yeah, that guy's 29 too. We'll pull the map up here real quick. And there we go. Get the map. And this will kind of give you a general layout. So yeah, like I said, the stone grabbers are like higher 20s, the gray hoppers lower 20s, and you got some rhino beetle hatchlings, which are like in the teens. I don't think you'll see those too often. And then the regular rhino beetles can be anywhere in the 20s. So Marus Seru, pretty decent zone. Luckland's got to be out though, but let's keep on moving. Okay, so we're over here in SolA, aka Solusek I, and there's a lot of goblins in this zone that you can camp. And you'll see on the map here, the zone is really big, so I'm not going to run around it. But we're going to take a look at the map I have on the website. And what I like to generally do is stay on the west side of the zone. Now, if you do end up camping down here in the southern area where there's a ton of goblins down here, you can get the piece for the cleric epic as well at the same time if Lord Gimblox happens to spawn. So it's a nice little 2-for-1 deal. And keep in mind, a lot of these are immune to fire, so you're going to want to bring either a melee group or people who aren't doing fire damage as their primary way to do damage. But let's get the map pulled up. Down right when you come in, this is the zone in right here. Stuff is generally level 18 to 22. Up here, you're going to see stuff more of like in the mid 20s, and down here is going to be like your higher 20s area. So this is a really popular spot for groups. It's good for power leveling, but like I said, make sure you bring a snare so you don't create trains. And over on the side is kind of like the gnomes area. I don't try to grind on the gnomes or anything like that. The goblins are typically going to be your best bet for XP. So that's SolA. Let's talk about the next one. So the next one is Crypt of Dalnir, and this one's kind of out of the way, which is the biggest downside of this zone. It's off of Warsilk's Woods. So it's in some tunnels, kind of like an isolated part of Warsilk's Woods, and it's underneath like some fake water. This zone itself is kind of like not really worth me running around in the video to show you like where all the mobs are at, and like because there's 4 different levels to this. You're kind of like going down some like some drop downs, and it's just kind of confusing to show. But we're gonna look at the map because it's a lot easier to look at on a map. And let's see, here we are. So you'll see most of this. There's 4 different levels here, and they're all basically every single level is the same level range. You're gonna have mobs from 25 to 32 or 33 or so. But the main level here is a little bit lower up here on this level, but they get a little bit higher on the other ones. But this is another great spot, and the only downside, like I said, is you got to get a whole group to run out here. It's okay for power leveling, but it's not that great because it's just kind of hard to navigate your way through here. But I recommend coming here, with a small group or with even with a full group. It's really good, especially if you have the zone to yourself. So this is another option here. Okay, so we're over here in one of my favorite zones. Is Lake of Ill Omen, and we're in the Saranac Fort, which is kind of down here in the southwest. A secondary option is like these goblin caves up here. They're kind of like similar level range, but most people don't really go up there. But this Saranac Fort is really, really good, and I recommend having a group here. If you're solo by yourself, you might want to camp, and you're like in Kunark level gear, or maybe you're under geared. If you're soloing, you probably want to stay maybe a little bit outside the fort and just pull stuff to you. Maybe pull some stuff in the field into you. But if you have a group, you can come into this fort, no problem. And popular camping spot is actually just right here on this hill. People will pull stuff from over here and pull stuff from inside the fort. And if you have a strong group, or once you start to get a little bit higher level, you can actually go into the fort. And there's Saranacs all throughout here. And they have like a chancellor room in here. There's a whole crap load of mobs in this room. And the level range here is good for probably like 21, 22, up to like maybe like 28 or so. But yeah, this is a really popular spot in Kunark era. It's one of my favorite camps. It's just like a fun, relaxing camp. And that pretty much covers everything. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please make sure to like it. Please subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.